Do you feel overwhelmed by everything what you have on your to-do list for May? Don't know where to start, don't know how to organize it? Then this video is for you. I'll walk you today through my list, which I have planned out for May for Zone 6 here to when I start hardening off, when I plant my plans, what I do otherwise in May. It's a lot, spoiler, but I'll walk you through all my details in my calendar, and then I hope you feel less overwhelmed afterwards. I'm Steffi, I'm a home gardener here in Attleboro, Massachusetts, Zone 6, and I love to take you along for the ride, so welcome to my channel. For the ones who don't know my garden setup, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the space I have and the workload associated with it. So we're sitting here in my main garden, which is half cut flower and half vegetable garden, and we have around 180 square feet of planting space in total, which is pretty much 50-50 cut flowers versus vegetable garden. Let's start at the top. When you see this video, it is May 2nd and the weekend of Saturday, May 3rd and May 4th. I will do two main things, which is planting out my potatoes, which are actually not here in this main garden. They're in my grow back garden in the driveway, because we have there an unused corner of the driveway which I've turned into a container garden a few years ago just to expand the growing space a little bit, and I love it. This will be my main target for that weekend, to plant out the potatoes. I have them already inside. When it comes to the weather, so the potatoes are typically planted out between my cool season and my warm season stuff on a weekend where the temperatures are already a little bit more mild, so I have no fear of hard frosts anymore to go deep into the soil or anything. I typically look for a time window which is also not like sogging wet. You don't want to have the potatoes rot in the grow bags before they can actually start to sprout, right? So it's a little bit like with the dahlia tubers, but it is in between that time window which I typically plant my potatoes, which is really great, and I always love them. And the other thing which I'm going to do on this weekend as well is to spray my beneficial nematodes. So, you know, I've a full organic garden. I don't apply any chemicals to it, but beneficial nematodes are actually a biological treatment for the yard and the garden to reduce any type of pests which are soil borne and overwinter in the soil, and that is in very, very large increase. And you know, my main motto for my gardening philosophy is simplicity. This is the one thing you can do in spring to really get ahead of the curve for any pests occurring in your garden over the course of the year. So it reduces any type of soil-borne diseases so radically. We actually started using it for the lawn to get rid of ticks, because you know Maggie, she loves to roll around in the grass around here, and especially under the trees and everywhere. And her fur is just the worst tick magnet you can imagine. So we didn't want her to drag ticks around in the house. So we started to use this treatment, and lo and behold, in the worst tick year ever, when we started treating the lawn, after 4 weeks, we didn't saw a tick for the rest of the season, which was amazing. And ever since, that is our May regimen, to treat the lawn and also the garden with the beneficial nematodes. And I probably will make a video of that as well. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss this video. So that is the first weekend of May. Then when we're looking at the start of hardening off, so I always calculate everything I do for my seed starting and my seedling care with May 15th as a potential date to be ready to plant outside. That always varies then a little bit with my calendar, or where May 15th actually falls in the week, because I'll have a full-time job, so I need to work with the time I have on the weekends. So what I'm currently planning on starting to plant out is May 17th, the weekend of May 17th. With that, I would start hardening off around May 5th. So for the warm season crops, I typically allocate about 2 weeks for the hardening off, just to have a little bit time buffer. Also, if weather doesn't comply or is a little bit erratic, you never know here in New England, right? So typically I plan for 2 weeks for that, to expose the seedlings slowly but surely to more and more sun, so that they're not getting grumpy when I'm planting them out finally. So that is what I start then the week of May 5th moving forward. And then the weekend moving forward to the next following weekend, the weekend of May 10th and 11th. This is like the weekend before I'm going to plant everything out. And this is typically when I go and start up my irrigation system, check if everything is okay. I found already while I was like amending here the soil and the beds, I found already a couple of areas which I need to fix, because there's always minimum one line which gets chomped up by, I don't know, rabbits, squirrels, whatever, wildlife in the winter. And typically when you turn it on again, you find at least 5 more which you need to fix. So I ordered already like just a few spare parts, which I always know I need. So they are here. So that should be no problem. I can highly recommend to have always some good spare parts on hand for your irrigation system. But that is what I'm going to go through on the weekend of May 10th. And yes, it is typically a full weekend worth of just like crawling around looking for things, making sure they're working, and potentially replacing it. And your fingers get very, very quickly tired when you replace certain things. And I have a lot of new containers who all need to be plugged into the irrigation system. So I just allocate one weekend for it and do it step by step when I feel like it on this weekend. So that is the weekend of May 10th. And then when we start with the weekend of May 17th, that is where I already want to start planting out things. Typically, I start to plant out my vegetable seedlings first, and go further into or go step by step, bed by bed of what I'm going to plant out. And then the weekend after, and I personally take always like 2 to 3 days off work, just to like do it step by step and not rush through the weekends with like planting and everything, like leaning over gets in your back very, very quickly. So to just have a little bit more time to also enjoy the process and not rush through it is always something what I prefer. So I have actually the 21st to the 23rd PTO, which is nice. And I won't need all 3 days to plant everything out. Typically, I need like two full days nonstop at a very minimum to get the veggies done, and then two full days to get the dahlias done and the cut flowers, the seedlings there. But it's nice when you stretch it out and you don't have to rush. So if I don't have time, or if I want to do something else with the 3 days, I will focus on getting my vegetable seedlings out the weekend of the 17th, because if we start hardening off on the 5th, we have perfect 2 weeks to harden them off, to start that right over there. And then the weekend of Memorial Day, the 24th and the 25th, this is when I'm going to plant my dahlia tubers out. And they are on purpose the last thing, or the last step I do. I know a lot of people are super excited to get started with the season, but if you plant out dahlia tubers too early and the soil is still too cold, you risk that your tubers rot away. And I did that in my first year when I was growing tubers. I was so excited just plugging them in and only half came up. So I'm not doing that mistake again. I'm going to check the 3 days in the mornings before I plan to plant them out with a soil thermometer, if the temperature of the soil is above 60 degrees. And yes, you should measure it in the mornings, because this is something where you want to make sure that it's at the lowest temperature after the night, that you have at a 6-inch depth, 60 degrees as a soil temp, to be safe for them to be happy and sprout right away. This is pretty much what I've planned for May. If there's one last big push to really get going and get everything outside and handing it over to Mother Nature. But I'm really excited. Once May comes around, I'm like full of energy and life again, and can't wait to get everything going. A couple other projects which I'll put on my plate as well, which are specific here to my garden, is I will redo and repaint our patio here a little bit, just to make it a little bit nicer. but I will put that somewhere into the mix in May when I find a minute or two and the weather fits. But so I hope this plan was helpful to you and took a little bit of the anxiety away of what you need to do and when. But if you have any other questions, just let me know. I love to chat with you in the comments, as you know, and then otherwise subscribe and watch another video. Thank you.